So I'm Dawn Foster. I work on Pivotal. I'm responsible for our open source strategy, and I manage our open source Kubernetes contributors program at Pivotal. And I'm involved in the Chaos project, which is a Linux Foundation project, and I'm a maintainer for a couple of the working groups, and then I'm also on the governing board. So the Chaos project is an open source project. It's a Linux Foundation project that's focused on community health for open source projects. So we look at a lot of different metrics that you can use to manage or to measure whether or not a community is successful or healthy across a bunch of different areas. So how inclusive it is, how diverse the community is where is it in the evolution cycle of a project. So there are loads of different ways of looking at metrics, and Chaos tries to look at really all of the things that you might want to measure out of an open source project. So I think one of the things that drives companies to want metrics is that ultimately a company needs to decide whether or not anything that they're doing is successful. And the way that you can do that is you can use metrics. So especially for open source communities, they get a lot of scrutiny within some companies. And so being able to justify your project by using metrics to be able to show why your project's successful, whether or not you're achieving your goals, all of that is one of the focuses for, I think, companies using open source metrics. So my biggest suggestion for companies who want to improve their metrics for open source projects is to really focus on the strategy. So the idea behind metrics is that once you have a strategy and you know what you're trying to achieve as a company and as a project and as a community, then you can use metrics to measure whether or not you're successful. And I think it's really important to tie those measurements back to the things that you're trying to achieve. For example, if you're trying to improve the performance of a particular open source project, measuring the number of commits is not going to get you there. But if you're trying to measure influence within a project, then maybe you can measure something like the number of people you have moving into leadership positions and some of your participation within the project. But if you don't tie those back to the things that you're trying to achieve as a company, you might be measuring the wrong things and you might not know whether you're successful or not. Yeah, I think the use of metrics benefits the open source projects and organizations because I think it's useful for us as an organization or as a project to really be able to understand what people are doing within the project. For example, if you look at retention within an open source project, having metrics that show you whether or not people are staying within your project is probably important to you. So as a project and as the organizations behind some of these projects, being able to measure what's going on in the project, I think is helpful for everybody that participates. I would say the most important thing to think about when you're thinking about metrics is really to think about your strategy and make sure that your metrics map back to your strategy. I think that's really the most important thing when you're thinking about how to measure open source